SaveWithConrad.com.
Yeah, I'm Justin Ruffin from Knoxville, Tennessee. What got me to Save with Conrad was the 83 Weeks podcast. I really wasn't thinking about getting rid of any debt. I just wanted to cash out some equity in the house to do remodeling. But I did both, so that was pretty awesome. Worked out great. Redid the foyer, built pantry space, and there's little odds and ends when I first bought the house that I wanted to take care of, and we were able to take care of it. So, yeah, paid off 2 cars and some credit card debt. So probably all in all, get $30,000 in that. And then I got some $30,000 more equity out of the house, and still plenty of equity left over. So payment's good. I lowered my interest rate. I'm in a much better spot than I was. Super easy. Everybody was great. Very, very awesome people. Francis and Steve were great to work with. They were awesome. Made it for a very easy, seamless experience. I'd probably say all in all, probably $1,000 a month at least. I'm lowered my interest rate, especially the way the interest rates are right now, which is, that's amazing. I'm Justin Bruckman from Knoxville, Tennessee. I saved over $1,000 with SaveWithConrad.com, and I did a lot of renovations with that money as well.
NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender. SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm better than most, not as good as all of them. How you doing, bud?
Man, better than I deserve. Excited to be on here with you today because that means we're going to watch some silly old wrestling together.
Yeah, buddy.
Our topic today is going to be MSG cage matches, and this was actually uploaded to the WWE's YouTube. We'll have a link in the description for today's show so you can watch along with us. But a compilation of great cage matches from Madison Square Garden. How's that sound?
That sounds great, man. That's, well, of course, cage matches are a fixture of pro wrestling, as we know, and MSG is probably the most famous arena ever to have pro wrestling. So some pretty good stuff. And I'm sure we're going to go, and I haven't looked through it yet, but I'm sure we're going to go back in the day.
We are going to go back in the day. I can't wait for us to watch it. But before we get started, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about the late, great Steve Mongo McMichael. Thankfully, finally, he's at peace. He's been in a battle for a long, long time. And a few years back, we actually brought together a whole host of legends to raise money for him and his family. Ric Flair was there, and Jeff Jarrett was there, and Eric Bischoff, and Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, even Mick Foley. We did it in Chicago, and we've put together a quick compilation from that event so you can hear some of the best and funniest Mongo stories. We're going to make sure there's a link in our description today. So when you finish today's episode, let's go celebrate Mongo a little bit with some hilarious stories from back in the day. But we're about 5 days removed, Tony, from his passing, and I'm sure you've had a chance to reflect on your time with him. You spent time with him, calling his matches, but also at his elbow on Nitro. Just a man's man, a hell of a guy. Can't wait to hear your favorite memories.
Well, he obviously was a phenomenal football player, and there are a lot of people out there that say, "Yeah, but a wrestler, he was." But he was fine as a wrestler, and he was legitimately a badass. And not many wrestlers can say that they are legitimate badasses, and he was. So when you see Steve McMichael work a match, you're watching a man who could really probably kick your ass, having to learn how to work. And that wasn't always not easy. They brought him into the Horsemen. I loved these promos because to me, he was serious and cold in his promos about what he said. And not only that, away from the ring, he was really a good dude. And I really liked hanging out with him because, and I think I mentioned this online, because he just made you feel safe being around him, right? It's like we get into a fucking fight. It's kind of like Wahoo McDaniel was. It's kind of like if we get into a fucking fight, I'm getting behind this guy, Steve McMichael, because he was one of the toughest guys I've ever met. And you go back and take a look at what he meant to that Bears championship team in the mid '80s.
Yes,
a phenomenal football player, and he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, of course, after, he was sick and they inducted him in there afterwards, but he should have been in the Pro Football Hall of Fame a long time before that. Just a good guy to be around. Always loved to hang around a crowd of guys, and was just a really good and very times scary dude. I mean, he would kind of look up at you with those eyes that had those dark circles under his eyes, and is like, oh shit, this guy means business. So I'm I'm heartbroken about his loss. I'm really heartbroken that I do get it. There were a lot of pictures of him when he was sick. Okay. I don't want to remember Mongo that way.
Right.
There's a lot of pictures online of him in the hospital in his last days and how much weight he had lost and how frail he was. And once again, I get it, I guess. I don't know. People going in there smiling, taking pictures with him. I don't want to remember Mongo that way. I want to remember that big, robust guy with long hair that he put in the ponytail in the back and took no bullshit from anybody at all and was one of the baddest guys ever in the ring. He really was. He's like, well, I put him in the Goldberg was like that too. He was a legitimate badass. And Rick Steiner, legitimate badass. There's just a handful of them that you can say, if there was a real fight, he's the guy I want on my side. Mongo was top of that list. But he didn't come across as threatening or bad or mean or anything like that. He came across as a real solid guy to hang out with. So I kind of consider him like a big brother when we hung out,
He forced Cassio to put on his Super Bowl ring at Starrcade in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And we all heard great stories about him. An attractive lady would walk by and he'd say, oh, I bet she's on scholarship.
Yep, exactly.
Just silly, fun stuff. But maybe one of my favorite tweets when people were doing their own little tributes to Mongo came from a big football fan. He's on Twitter at ZEE8552. He wrote, I was at a Bears event as a kid and I yelled at Steve McMichael, screw the Packers. He came over to me, put his hand on my shoulder and said, son, you shouldn't use that kind of language. It's fuck the Packers. I just thought, man, what a man. And as a reminder, you mentioned it. There's a lot of fans who in the last several years have thought it was in fashion to dunk on Mongo's wrestling skills.
Yep.
No doubt, plenty of fodder there, plenty of material to work with.
Yep.
I want to remind you, they trained him to do one celebrity match. And then after that said, hey, you're just a full-time wrestler now. And
Yep.
put him on the road making towns after he'd been trained to work one match.
Yep.
So I know that people are critical, but as a reminder, normally by the time you see a wrestler on Nitro back in that day, they may have been wrestling 5, 6, 7 years, not one match in front of the world on pay-per-view. And now just weekly live television. It's a big ask.
Yeah, you're not kidding, it is. And to be put in the ring as a horseman, right?
Yes.
That's a big ask. And that's a lot of pressure to be put on you. It really is. He was at a Starrcade that we did in Chicago.
Yep.
So I found out Mongo was there and I said, I'm going to find that fucker. And I went downstairs and he was down there signing autographs. And I went up to him. I said, I don't know if you remember me. He said, don't ever tell me that. Don't ever say that to me. Of course I remember who you are. Jesus. And he kind of looked at me the way he does, looking down with his eyes up. He said, see those 3 girls over there? I went, yep. They're on scholarship.
I just want to let everybody know in his entire wrestling career, he had 159 matches.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of wrestlers back in your day in the WWF. They worked more than that in a single year.
Mm.
So I'm just saying and by the way, his first match, pay-per-view, his second match, Nitro, his third match, pay-per-view. Like he worked years and years and years before he ever had a house show.
Right.
Like, I don't even remember if he worked house shows. Now I'm thinking about it. It just feels like almost every event that he had, I guess he did work a few here and there, but Lord have mercy. What a talent. What a legend. And what a good dude. I think that's maybe the best way to talk about him. He was just a dude. And you know what? Better said, he was the man.
He was the man.
And I know if he was here with us, chopping it up, talking about old wrestling, he'd love our next sponsor, Blue Chew. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it's going to be like the Iron Curtain for your wang. The Monsters of the Midway, whatever you want to call it. Here's the deal. You're going to have that Mongo action when you get your first month of Blue Chew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door. And the best part is it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Make your life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use our promo code WHW. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code WHW. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. Speaking of which, Tony, MSG cage matches. I'm locked and loaded, ready to go. Are you ready on your side?
I'd like to talk about something first.
Please do.
Thank you. This coming Saturday, we are going to be live from doing Collision, and we will be live on TBS, not on TNT, with Collision, and that's going to originate from Atlantic City. And it never ceases to amaze me how my career has come full circle. On April 6, 1985, when we were doing Dynasty, it was 40 years to the day that I had first been on TBS. And now for me to be calling a live Saturday show on TBS again, to me, it's very, very, very special. When I think back, you can just go back and connect the dots of the history of World Championship Wrestling, when it started as Georgia Championship Wrestling. And that was in 72. And then in 76, the station became, I think in 79, the station became WTBS. In 82, they changed the name from World Championship Wrestling, or from Georgia Championship Wrestling to World Championship Wrestling. And then when I look, and I was looking up today, I was looking up on Wikipedia, I was looking up today, the 10 years that it was World Championship Wrestling from 82 to 92. A lot happened during that time. Of course, the Black Saturday, and I first appeared in there in 1985. And then, of course, JR appears in 87 and then 88, the Crockett Cell. And then, of course, it changes to World Championship Wrestling Saturday night. And when it was taken over by TBS, and I did some matches there with Jesse Ventura after JR left in 93. And here we are in 2025, and I'm going to do a Saturday night show on TBS again. That's not lost on me. That's not lost on how special it is for me personally. So I'm really, really pumped about Saturday night show from Atlantic City and being live on TBS on a Saturday night.
Shout out to that. I love
Yeah.
it. Get your tickets now, AEWTIX.com, or do like I'm going to do and be watching live on TBS. Dude, I love that. Saturday live on TBS. Look at you. Yeah,
look at me. Look at me. 85. Again, when JR left, it was JR and Jesse for a while. When I left and came back, and then it was me and Jesse Ventura for a while. And then Nitro came about, and I was taken off of that, and Scott Hudson did it for a while. So WCW Saturday night. And then right at the end, WCW Saturday night, which was the forerunner was World Championship Wrestling. Before that, the forerunner was Georgia Championship Wrestling. Then after that, late, it became just a recap show, which when you think about it is kind of heartbreaking about what that show meant on Saturday nights at 6:05. So there's a short history of it. I'm glad I'm a part of that history. It amazes me that World Championship Wrestling became World Championship Wrestling for Georgia Championship Wrestling 82, and it only took 10 years for it to. There were so many changes in that 10-year period. It's amazing, or 11 years if you count each individual one. So, but anyway, here we go with Collision on AEW, and Nigel and I will be doing the show on Saturday. Really, really cool. Not lost on me.
Super cool. Can't wait to see it. Really happy for you to have that milestone too. What a nice little footnote.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us the context. And I think we'll all be setting our DVRs and be ready for what's going on this weekend.
And I just love the sport. And I love the fans. And we got any of those shithead fans we're with us right now?
We are.
Okay. Okay.
We got an hour and 46 minutes, Tony. Would you like to start the show, or do we just want to?
No, I just want to. No, I know you probably got to pee or something.
No, I don't. I just know that you're always like, can we watch something that's 12
Okay.
minutes? I don't have time for this. And then we get on here and I'm trying to start because once we get going, you're not going to give me fuck all to talk about. And I'm going to be over here like a monkey with the cymbals here, just trying to keep us going.
Yeah.
And what you just did would have filled up like 10 minutes of a really terrible match that we're going to
Hey,
have.
why don't you do like a monkey and eat your own shit? By the way, hello to Bad Money Slim. James Okorai has joined us here. Bryant, I never can pronounce your last name, so I don't know how. Darren Staley is here, and he's going to talk some really stupid shit, as always. Coach Rosie and Rajiv is with us, and that's about it right now. Join us right now. There you
How
go.
about Haremza?
Haremza. Dave McClay has joined us as well. So there you go. You ready to start watching some stuff, Conrad? What the hell?
I mean, we don't have to. Let's talk about your feelings.
Feelings. Okay. Hey, there you go. Here's my.
I love you broke out in song. I love it.
Here's my feeling. See Bad Company right here?
Yeah, I'm ready.
They're going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'm so excited for them because Paul Rodgers is one of my favorite rock and roll singers of all time.
Darren Staley says, I have to mention Tony's shirt. It's way past time Bad Company got into the Hall of Fame.
Damn right, buddy.
Bad Company, 10 from 6, may be the best rock hits album of all time.
Yeah. It's great. I was, Dave Silva and I were playing some of our favorite Bad Company songs, and I was playing Moving On, which to me just kind of rings true with anybody who's traveled. And I just love them, and I'm very happy for them. And I'm
you ever
so
do anything fun to a Bad Company song?
with,
Like, is that like a good driving song for you? Do you like to listen to it when you cut the grass? Like, do you have like, hey, whenever I'm doing so-and-so, I want to put on this Bad Company album?
when I'm driving to the airport,
Okay.
I want to put on Moving On. Okay. When Lois and I were talking about it the other day, and I said, I can tell you one song that will never play in this house. She said, what's that? I said, Feel like Making Love. So there you go.
Dave McClay wants to know, is AEW coming back to Boston later this year? Didn't you just do 2 shows in Boston?
Yeah, we just did 2 shows in Boston, but Dave was on. Oh, Dave was not there. He was somewhere else.
He missed them.
He missed them. Yeah. Yeah.
I doubt they're coming back. Yambag Jones wants to know, what does Tony think about Atcast getting into the Hall of Fame? And do her roses really smell like boo, boo, boo?
No, that's fine for them to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, Cyndi Lauper was put into the Hall of Fame. So there, Joe Cocker, thank God, in the Hall of Fame, and Chubby Checker in the Hall of Fame. You're telling me that Chubby Checker was not already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? For crying out loud.
Does it matter when they go in, Tony? Why are you so caught up on who goes first and when?
Because listen, okay, I'm in the Hall of Fame, and I went in that Hall of Fame because I was asked to be in the Hall of Fame by Gerald Briscoe and you, and I said yes. But I think Hall of Fames are a bunch of bullshit anyway. They're not about the people.
Well, then why do you care what who goes in?
They're about the Hall of Fame, okay? They're about the Hall of Fame. Kiss didn't go into the Hall of Fame until like what, 2014 or something like that. Cars didn't go into the Hall of Fame until like 2012. Some of the great bands of all time. What the flying fuck?
But I mean, but if it's bullshit, why do you care?
I guess I care about bullshit. That's why I'm an wrestling announcer. Okay.
By the way, speaking of bullshit, I sent you a tweet over the weekend. Got you all fired up for no goddamn reason.
I know.
I was like, I don't even know why he's mad about this.
Right.
But someone found a clip of what was WCW Saturday Night or Pro or something like that. And it was you and Bobby Heenan on commentary.
Yeah.
And Heenan was teasing, hey, something smells fishy with this third man. I got a funny feeling.
Yeah.
I think I know who it is. And if it's who I'm thinking it is, it's going to be the biggest story ever. And then as you're saying, well, who do you think it is? He says, something like, take your cans off and I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. And supposedly he tells you something and you're like, oh my God, if that's real, wow, things are going to change. Wow. I had not heard that before. I think by and large, most of the internet rediscovered that clip this week for the first time.
Right.
You even remember that?
No, I don't. When you sent me that clip, I saw that clip I didn't listen to it. I saw the clip and I'm thinking, oh, now they're blaming me for spoiling the surprise when Hogan walks down and Heenan says, "But whose side is he on?" Right? He got a lot of shit for that. So I thought that person was now blaming me for that. So I was saying that person go fuck themselves, and I was really mad that I'm not taking the heat for that. So, but I was
That
wrong.
wasn't even it. You got
I
worked up
know.
about something that wasn't even real. You're like
I
the
know.
old man who yells at clouds now.
Oh, I'm worse than that. Okay. But I don't remember that at all. Not at all.
So just so everybody understands, the matter of fact, let me find our text exchange because I thought it was interesting,
Okay.
and I think people will laugh at this.
Yeah.
I sent it to him, and
Yeah.
just the link from
Mhm.
Reddit where this was being discussed,
Yeah.
and he says, "Yeah, fucking blame me. This is why I hate the internet, doing a podcast and fucking wrestling." And I said, "What? Who blamed you? Nobody even noticed this until today, and it was a gag Heenan was doing. Did you even know it was Hogan at that point? This isn't even remotely negative. Why don't you go jack off? You're backed up." So inquiring minds want to know, Tony, did you jack off?
No, I'm too old for that stuff, man. I'm just backed up and let it roast.
Let it drip.
Let it, yeah.
Well, listen, let me just tell you, right now,
Yeah.
during the basketball playoffs, everybody can get their fuck on. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's points, rebounds, assists, you take your pick on more or less for your shot up to win up to $2,000 extra cash today. I am absolutely loving this. I know you will too. And now it's your turn to take your playoff hot takes into tickets. That's right. This is your chance to win tickets to basketball's championship series, starting with the play-in round, which is happening right now. Every lineup that you make on Prize Picks will enter you in the Takes Two ticket sweepstakes, which could get you and a +1 VIP to the ship. How about that? Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while you're watching sports. There's millions of users, including pretty much everyone I know at the office. Everybody I know is talking about Prize Picks. And because the basketball playoffs are here, the action is really heating up. Prize Picks really is the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. And right now, you don't need to miss your chance to add to your favorite players from the ice. That's right. You can even add Prize Picks for your hockey lineups, whether it's goals or points or hits. You just make that pick, more or less, and you could win up to 2,000 times your cash today. I've had a lot of fun with this, especially during the playoffs. I think everybody's paying attention to what's happening with the Timberwolves and the Lakers, and I'm going to encourage you, do what I'm doing. Take the over on Luka Doncic's points, and I might even take the under on Anthony Edwards. That's just me. I'm going to say more points for Luka and less points for Anthony Edwards. That's what I'm going with. What are you going with? Download the app today and use the code WHW. You'll get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Just download Prize Picks today. Use our code WHW and you'll get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. To be clear, you don't have to win. Just use our code WHW and you're going to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Yay. Anthony Edwards, Georgia Bulldogs, go.
Oh, fuck him. Hey, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Bryan Danielson. He's come out and made a public statement that I thought was pretty interesting and something that I really appreciate. This is kind of neat. I want to get your take on it. Here's what he said. He said, "My neck is wrecked, so it's not no chance, but it's risk versus reward at this point, right? So I want to be able to live comfortably with my wife and kids. One of the things our society has a real problem with is realizing when enough is enough. And I'm very satisfied with my career, and I think enough is enough." I thought that was fantastic, dude. What a great perspective, because he's right. A lot of people don't know when to say enough is enough. And I know we've all got our opinions about wrestling retirements. Never has he ever said that's the last match he'll ever win or wrestle, but it does feel like he's saying that's probably the end of me being a full-time wrestler. And full-time now means something different than it did 5 years ago or even 15 years ago. But I love that perspective. Hey, I'm very satisfied with my career and enough is enough. What do you think?
Well, he's first of all, he's a great family man. couple of wonderful kids, and Bree is a good person. I've met her a couple of times. He, what is going on with him is the fact that, if he says one more time, and what if that one more time something goes wrong,
Yeah.
and then he can't live out his final years the way he wants to with his family, and that's what you risk all the time. And he always had a great head on his shoulders. It's one of the reasons why I've called him the greatest wrestler of all time. Not only that, because he's mature phenomenal, just because he's just so smart. He really is. And uh, he's still an advisor with us. We still see him now and then. And he still lends a hand on the creative side. Uh, I think I think he would be a phenomenal booker. Tony Khan is our booker, and Tony takes a lot of advice from him. But I think, given the reins by himself of a company, I think he would be a phenomenal booker. I just think he knows what works and what doesn't. So I think he's still got that. He's still got the brain, right? And the body is had enough, man. After every match, I would go to him and say, "Are you okay?" He'd go, "Yeah, do like that." But I know that he's hurting. I know that he's hurting. And every time he wrestles, I just think, God bless. I hope it's not the last time. I think he realizes that he can't take the chance. He wants to see his kids grow up. So why take the chance, right? I mean, he's been in this business for quite a while. He's made plenty of money, made a lot of money, and hopefully enough. And his wife's made a lot of money too. Hopefully they got enough for the family to live on without having to go out and take bumps anymore.
Well, somebody who doesn't have to take bumps anymore, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know if you saw this, but it was reported over the weekend. I guess Logan Paul said it on his podcast that he offered Stone Cold $1 million to wear the Prime bottle down to the ring at WrestleMania, which what a hilarious visual that would have been. Take a look at what Stone Cold might have looked like coming down the ramp in this bottle, Tony.
Mm.
It's fucking hysterical. I totally understand why he turned it down.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just trying to see, hypothetically, if you were offered $1 million to walk down to the ring dressed like a Prime bottle,
Yeah.
what color Prime bottle would you pick?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Green.
Yeah, that's the right color.
Yeah. I mean, I would do it in a minute, but I mean, Stone Cold, one of the baddest asses ever in pro wrestling. To me, that sounds like they wanted to make fun of him.
Well, here's my thing. I think Logan Paul knew he'd say no, but
Okay.
it's like if he says yes, hey, it's great marketing. And if he says no, I'm still going to say I made the offer, so it's still
Okay.
great marketing.
Right.
That's what I think. But I
Yeah.
also wonder if you were going to make that offer to Stone Cold,
Yep.
if you might need to make sure that you had a Stop Box Pro. I mean, let's be real. Owning a handgun for self-defense comes with serious responsibility. You need it secure, but also accessible when it matters most. And too often that means choosing between locking it away or leaving it out, which means it's vulnerable for kids or guests or even intruders. And that's the problem that Stopbox USA set out to solve. And I think they nailed it with the Stopbox Pro. It's 100% mechanical, it's keyless, and it's got a battery-free lockbox that gives you instant controlled access to your firearm where there's no electronics, no keys, or no codes required. Just a patented 5-button locking system that responds only to your unique input. It's fast, it's intuitive, and it's built for muscle memory, so you're not thinking, you're reacting. And when seconds matter, well, that makes all the difference in the world. And with Stopbox Pro, you don't have to trade safety for speed or peace of mind or for readiness. Your firearm stays secure, but always within reach. And right now, our listeners are getting 10% off their entire order when you use the code WHW. They're also giving you a buy one, get one free offer on their Stopbox Pro. That's 10% off and a free Stopbox Pro when you use our code WHW at StopboxUSA.com. I want to remind you that all the Stopbox products are made here in the USA in their own facility. So that guarantees great quality for every product, but it also creates jobs here for the American workers. And the Stopbox Pro is TSA compliant. So you can actually transport your firearm conveniently through checked baggage airline travel. And right now, for a limited time, our listeners are getting a crazy deal. Not only do you get that 10% off your entire order when you use our code WHW at StopboxUSA.com, but they're also giving you a buy one, get one free for their Stopbox Pro. So that's 10% off and a free Stopbox Pro when you use the code WHW at StopboxUSA.com. Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with Stopbox. Tony, I don't know if you saw, but our buddy, friend of the show, Adam Priest, recently won the Deadlock Pro Heavyweight Championship. Did you see that?
I did not. Is Deadlock out of North Carolina?
They are, yeah,
Right.
DPW, and they actually just went to Japan. I think the guys are on their way back to the States right now. So one of the more well-respected and most revered independents out there. And Adam Priest is now the heavyweight champion. And he had a little moment that recently made air over the weekend. And I think this was from Japan. And I thought, I got to show that to Tony. So let me show you this clip here.
Okay.
Causing a distraction. See what this says? It says heavyweight. Weight don't mean shit. I'm 180 to 30 pounds of dick, so fuck y'all. Unbelievable.
Wow.
180 with 30 pounds of dick.
That's a lot of penis.
Just so you know, when that started to gain some traction online, Cassio posted in the group chat, I'm about to quote tweet it that's bullshit. I've seen it and I can confirm it's not a pound over 25.
Well, if you've got that much, and 25 to me would still be when you get old, it'll just have to kind of lay around with you and do nothing.
What does lay around with you and do nothing mean?
Well, you won't be able to use it. So you might just have it lay around on your leg or something and watch TV with you.
You won't be able to use it.
You won't, unless you got to go pee pee.
All right, you ain't got to get hot about it.
Okay, you're gonna get old, motherfucker. All you motherfuckers gonna get old. Even Dave Silver's gonna get old.
I don't think Dave Silver's gonna get old.
Yeah. Dave, did you color your beard yet?
Negative.
He's old.
We got a live question here from Bryant. You want to take a stab at his last name?
Yeah, it's Harimza.
Harimza. Yeah. A guy at WrestleCon had a tattoo of the Intercontinental title on his stomach. If either of you could tattoo any title on yourself, which one would it be? If you were going to get a belt tattooed across your waist, Tony, a wrestling title, is it the 10 pounds of gold?
Nah, it's the old globe, the old NWA globe belt. Or maybe.
But who held that one? Who are you saying?
Harley Race. Maybe it's the old U.S. title one that Blackjack held. With just the
the shape of the country.
Shape of the country. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go with the big gold.
Yeah.
Although even in a tattoo, I'd probably need some extra snaps. Bag Jones says, can Tony wear a giant Diet Mellow Yellow bottle at Starrcast? Now that'd be fun. If we could find an old school Mellow Yellow can for you to walk around Starrcast with, that'd be great.
It'd be a Mellow Yellow Zero is what it would be, not Diet.
Yes. My apologies. You got to get hot about it.
Yeah.
Dave McClay wants to know, is it required for wrestlers to have a social media account?
No. Not in AEW, I don't think but we wish they wouldn't. There's a lot of them we wish they wouldn't. Oh, you know what social media has done? Oh, just made our jobs difficult.
Well, it's also enlightened us and brought us a lot of comedy. John Hamilton, by the way, says, I just ordered my stop box. How about that?
There you go.
We're supporting our sponsors like that.
Yeah, well, John lives in South Carolina, and he lives in a bad place in South Carolina, so he needs a stop box.
Listen, Tony, I know that, wasn't that long ago. It was Easter. You guys, I assume the grandkids were like hiding eggs and stuff.
They just got Easter baskets, all the grandkids did.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I know when I was a kid, one of my favorite things about going to a magic show is where they would, do the sleight of hand, and they'd do like the scarf routine. And I've got a little clip for you here.
I bought a magician's scarf, which come about 6 feet long, and I tied 2 together, so it was 12 feet all in all. And you'd shove it up your snatch before the show with a little KY, and then at your last song, when you have your G-string off and you're doing your floor work, pull out the scarf, and men are always shocked to see like 12 feet of scarf come out. And you're like giving birth to scarf on stage.
The old man pulling the scarf over and over.
Where do I know that girl from?
You know her?
I recognize the face. I don't know if I know her. I just recognize it,
Silva, can we get a still shot up there again? Pondwater Dave says, take my Discover card.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Mm,
Dave wants to know if that's Harley Cameron. No, it does not.
not Harley Cameron. Shut up.
What's wrong with you?
Okay.
If Harley can't, if we had a video of her, it might be of her like singing a song. But if
Right.
only there was a funny song she could sing, you know.
Right.
Taking lows, blowing schlong, doing coke, hitting bongs, put a pink in ya. If you wanna, blowing schlong, take blows. STDs have surely found her. It's a risk letting random strangers pound her. Life of the party, she's charming and she's sweet. Entrepreneur selling pictures of her feet.
That girl has a talent.
What do you think?
Yeah, she's that's the second week we've had her on here. As everyone is with us live, and we appreciate you right now, as everyone realizes, we apparently are not going to watch wrestling today, but that's okay.
Oh, I didn't think you were in the mood for it because I tried to go to it a few times and you kept telling me to stop.
Yeah, God blame you. You blame Schiavone.
No. I'm down to do whatever.
What do you say we roll?
All right.
Okay. Again, you follow the description on the.
The link is in the description for today's show. It's MSG cage matches directly from the WWE's YouTube. So we're going to do what we might call a second screen experience. You'll have your wiener, you'll have YouTube in one hand, and then us in the other hand.
How about all the slapdicks are with us live here right now? Can they find that link anywhere?
Yeah, they have the link.
They have the link?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's from the WWE Vault, MSG cage matches. Here we go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, play.
So we're watching a cage match from 10 years ago, October 3rd, 2015. This is going to be John Cena versus Seth Rollins. It's a steel cage match for the WWE United States Championship. And yeah. Here comes Seth Rollins as the world champion. This was before he tore his knee that year.
Mm-hmm. So what year is this from again?
10 years ago, 2015.
Okay. That's Seth Rollins' logo in the back, obviously.
Yeah.
First glance, I thought it was the NXT logo. Shows you what I know.
The color scheme or whatever.
Yeah. And there it is, the new styled cage.
What do you think of that version of the cage, Tony?
Well, I think we've seen it many, many times, and it's okay. Again, I'm a fan of the blue cage that I'm sure we're going to see in this one. So I like it. So now here's my question: is the idea to escape the cage first here, or is the idea to get a 1, 2, 3 pin?
I guess we'll see, won't we?
I guess you got to kind of set the rules before you actually do the match. Set the rules on television or something. But again, this is Madison Square Garden.
This was a premium live event. I think this was streamed on the WWE Network. They had launched it, of course, in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So they were doing a special here. I think the name of this event was Live from MSG, Lesnar versus Big Show. But on the undercard, here's your world champion, John Cena, who is the U.S. champion, challenging Seth Rollins, who is the world champion, but only the U.S. title is on the line here, Tony.
Okay. So they said Hell in a Cell, and that's what the WWE calls their cage matches, right?
No, sir. This is not Hell in a Cell. They're promoting the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that's coming up. This is a house show.
Got it.
From MSG.
Got it.
This would have been his being Seth Rollins' fourth time wrestling on Madison Square Garden. His first time was teaming with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns as a part of the Shield.
Right.
To take on Team Hell No, which was Daniel Bryan and Kane, and The Miz It was a 6-man tag, the Christmas show, December 27th, 2012. He'd come back a couple of years later, the day after Christmas in 2014, and it was John Cena versus Seth Rollins. In February of 2015, it would be Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns against the Authority. At the time, that was Kane and Seth Rollins. And now here it is, the 4th match here for Seth Rollins at MSG. It's John Cena versus Seth, and they're going to get plenty of time here, not counting entrances. The actual bell-to-bell is 22 minutes and 44 seconds.
I'm for it. What is it about John Cena that smacks of Cody Rhodes?
White meat, babyface.
That it just facial expressions, mannerisms, something, I don't know.
The clean cut. There's no facial hair. No facial hair is a big deal in wrestling right now. Like almost everybody now has some sort of, they're not smooth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Want to be a little rough around the edges. Oh my gosh, look at there. That's Lance Storm sitting in the front row next to Jon Stewart, I believe.
Wow. Lance Storm.
And Don Callis with hair.
Holy shit, that is Don Callis.
Don Callis with hair sitting by Lance Storm and Jon Stewart, I believe.
Wow, you got to send me that photo. Dave, you got to screenshot that and send it because I'll send it to Don Callis, and Don said, "Yeah, I fell asleep because I was sitting next to Lance Storm."
I think that was Scolin's wife that Cena
Okay.
at ringside there.
Okay.
John Cena in this era had a buzz cut and still had his hair. He was a good guy, of course.
I think he has a smile like Cody. I don't know. Just something reminded me of that. I don't know.
John Cone, who's now in talent relations, I believe. He's been a big deal with them for a long, long time behind the scenes. He's your referee. I think I used to own that particular belt right there back in the day.
You can tell when you've owned a lot of belts if you think you've owned that.
Well, I think the reason I wanted it to begin with is because it was the John Cena belt.
Uh-huh. That would be cool to own that.
Once upon a time, I thought it might be his last belt. Now, of course, we realize it's not the case. He's the current reigning, defending WWE champion.
Never say never in pro wrestling, dude.
Right?
That's why we saw that that quote from Bryan Danielson, and I hope he never gets in the ring again, but never say never.
Charles Robinson is locking up the cage on the outside. By the way, did John Cena have one of the coolest opportunities for gear ever? I mean, think about everybody else and their brother having to spend all this money getting custom fitted stuff. And he's like, how about jorts and a t-shirt and some tennis shoes? You can just run down to Walmart and I'm good to go.
You can wear it to the ring. You can wear it to wrestle in, and you can wear it to go to see the Florida Gators play.
Man, we're still talking about pubes in the live chat here.
Yeah, well.
This is like, what are pubes like a new thing on the show?
Nah, that's Darren Staley's go-to.
We might need a pube sponsor.
Yeah, he needs a pube sponsor.
Taking loads, blowing schlong.
Dun, dun, dun. What is wrong? So, one of the things that makes a cage so unique is the cage is used as a weapon. And let's see how long it takes for them to throw somebody's head into it. And let's see how much juice is involved.
None.
None?
None.
Well, then that's probably because the New York Athletic Commission wouldn't let them do it.
I think it's because Vince says, we don't need blood. Remember now, this is a house show.
Okay.
I know it was on the WWE network, but I'm just saying, I don't remember seeing this match. I don't think I ever have. But I'd be willing to bet there's no blood.
And then my question is, why the cage? I think fans see a cage when they're expecting blood. Am I wrong?
You are.
Yeah. I am wrong.
They used to believe that, but I think there's a whole generation of wrestling fans who grew up without blood in wrestling and cage matches.
I'm in the generation of wrestling fans. Please, no blood.
Well, back in y'all's day, y'all were just, fucking with no rubbers, just shooting loads everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then because of people like you,
And
we got HIV.
Yeah, and cutting each other's forehead with razor blades, just passing the razor blade on to the next person. Just
Yeah.
stick it in your bag in the bottom of that crummy old shitty old bag. Let it get dirty for a week and hand it to your next guy. Say, here, cut with that one. It was a good one. It helped me. You take some aspirin, maybe you bleed, maybe you don't. Hey, why don't you cut your arm like Dusty used to do? That was good.
You know, I talked to Rick once, and Rick says he drank coffee. That was his way to get it going.
Okay, I guess caffeine does thin the blood out, right?
He said it would like make it pump faster and raise his heart
Oh,
rate.
yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
So he was just like, no, my deal was I just drink 3 or 4 cups of coffee, and
yeah,
there you go.
yeah. I can see that, and I can see him doing that. And I can tell you this, I can remember Ric Flair backstage always drinking coffee, always.
Ready to bleed, baby.
And there you go. Well, things have changed.
I saw today he had to cancel an appearance. I guess he's going to be going to Mongo's funeral. No surprise. He was one of his biggest supporters. So
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure Rick will make those dates up. I know he's got a contract with Fitterman for this, and obviously he'd like to make his dates, but I don't have any doubt he'll be there for Mongo.
Yeah. And I can see that. I understand that.
Yambag Jones wants to know, what do you think the over-under on the times Rick has bladed in his career?
Oh my God.
2,000?
Every bit. I mean, it might be more than that. If you think about the heyday, right? When they worked every day, how many times a year did Rick say was the most he ever worked?
According to Cage Match, and this isn't complete, obviously.
Right.
But according to Cage Match, he had 5,024 matches.
Okay.
So I felt like bleeding in 40% of them was fair. You think it's more?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. So
Well,
what would your guess be? If it really is 5,000 matches?
Yeah, I would 3,000, I think.
Okay.
And the reason is because I still think throughout his illustrious career, most of the matches he had were the old school house shows. Because if you think about it, you know, TVs, pay-per-views, 4 a year, 5 a year, can't bleed on TV type thing. Most of the blood came down, and you know, in the heyday of the Crockett's, they worked every day of the week, twice on Saturdays, twice on Sundays. Didn't have Christmas off, didn't have Thanksgiving off, didn't have New Year's off, because those were the big days where you drew crowds. And I'm sure he didn't bleed in every house show. I'm sure in those spot shows where you have like 1,500 show up, he wouldn't bleed for that. But you go to the Greensboro, I'm really talking old type territory shit now. You go to the Greensboro Coliseum, you go to Norfolk, you go to Richmond, you go to Roanoke, the big cities, you bled. And there were a lot of big cities in the Crockett, what they consider big cities in the Crockett territory. And I mentioned Virginia. I didn't even mention that, Asheville, North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. Those were big towns. Columbia, South Carolina. Myrtle Beach. Those were big towns. So, yeah. I think he bled a lot. Isn't it amazing? And I know there was staph infection. Guys had staph infection. But it's amazing that there wasn't more of that.
No doubt, dude. I was actually thinking about that not that long ago. Like, I'm not going to name any names, but we both know there's a handful of wrestlers who wound up with hepatitis. But I really do feel like I could name those wrestlers on one hand.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, how is that possible?
Right.
That we can both name hundreds of wrestlers who bladed over and over and over and over again, and there's 5 or less.
Yeah. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Especially when you figure, just the amount of ass that you and everybody else in JCP was tearing through. I mean, Jim Cornette said famously, Rock and Roll Express had more sex on the way to the ring than he had in his lifetime. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but Ricky Morton drives around on ball tires. Rubber's not a priority for him. So I just feel like you know,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
If an atomic bomb went off, you understand, in the
Yeah.
Tri-Cities, you understand,
Mm-hmm.
there'd be cockroaches and Ricky Morton, you understand. And if you see one of them big cockroaches with a blonde mullet, just
Yep.
don't ask any questions, you understand.
You know, Ricky and Robert
Yes.
were at the show, and when we were in New Orleans, and Ricky, we were in catering, and Ricky said, "Hey, I want to tell you guys something that just happened to me." And everybody was looking at Ricky and listening intently, and I'm thinking, it's another one of those fucking Ricky Morton
Yep.
bad, terrible jokes. And of course it was. And they all went, "Oh God." I said, I knew from the time he opened his mouth. This is Ricky Martin working a joke. He doesn't have any stories. He's just got jokes. That's all. Then he hit you. When he does the punchline, he'll hit you.
Oh yeah, he's ready for it.
Yeah.
Darren Staley, 5 minutes ago, says, "I'm 90% certain that below the neck, Tony is naturally hairless."
Yeah.
And I started to think to myself, man, what the fuck is going on with Darren Staley? What's going on with him? And then I saw his most recent question, Tony.
Yeah.
His most recent question is, and this is just from 1 minute ago.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it out loud, Tony? Here it is. Tony, Silva will put it on the screen.
Go ahead, Dave. Does Tony masturbate often? Wow.
This is where we are with our show, Tony.
Now, this is where Darren is. Okay. Darren needs some psychiatric help, and he needs it quickly.
Last week we were talking about pubes.
Yeah. Okay. As you can tell, wow, what a great power bomb off the turnbuckle. As you can tell, what a great freaking kick out, too. Holy smokes. As you can tell, Darren Staley needs some intervention in his life. And, you know, Darren, we appreciate you being with us and being a part of Patreon, but we're not here to help you mentally. Okay. You need somebody else. Watch his kick up by Cena. That was pretty cool.
What do you think of this Seth Rollins match? Isn't it crazy how much younger he looks 10 years ago? I know that sounds crazy. That's always your line, but
yeah,
man, it feels like he looks so much younger than what we see now.
Well, 10 years will change a person.
No doubt, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I was talking about with World Championship Wrestling. Think about the 10 years that when it was first named World Championship Wrestling, we're talking, you know, Gordon Soley and 82 and the Road Warriors and Freddie Miller and all that. And then Vince takes it over. It's just amazing. It's amazing what 10 years can do in the wrestling sphere. The fact that AEW is not even 10 years old is mind-boggling.
Tony, can I tell you about my group chat?
Yeah, go ahead, Conrad. Tell me about your group chat.
Something silly happened tonight. I want to share it with you.
Something silly happened that we're going. We can't talk about silly shit on this program. It's not like us.
He said, my buddy Jeff Jewett from DutyTrucking.com.
Oh, yeah, right.
Says, my father turns 85 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Mr. Jewett. He's still working, even though we try to get him to stop. His birthday kind of snuck up on me. Now I'm scrambling to find something for him. Trying to find someone to sell me some wood, because over the last couple of years, he's been obsessed with wood. They can't drive past a fallen tree without him wanting to find out who owns it and whether or not he can have it. Mentally, he's been slipping for the last few years, and physically, he's always in pain, but he won't stop. I hope I'm the same way when I get old. And my buddy, Eric Rottencrotch, says, what's he do with the wood? And another friend in the chat, who I won't name, says, he fucks. And then Jeff says, he burns it in the furnace. He doesn't want to pay for heating fuel. And I think that's hilarious, but only in my group friend chat do people want to know, what's he do with the wood? As if there's something else to do. What would you do? I don't know. It just tickled me.
Yeah, 80-plus-year-old man just going to build a house tomorrow with it.
But he's got a big art project, and he's hoping that he can make it look a little bit like Tony Danza from Who's the Boss.
Right, he's going to whittle it.
Yes,
on his
he's
front
whittle
porch.
it down as he's listening to that lady's song. Taking loads, blowing schlong.
Hey, so I just found out as we're going over the silly shit on your group chat.
What's going on with your arm?
Of my arm. Okay, I'll tell you about this in a minute. That the idea is to escape the cage because Seth Rollins was trying to get out. Charles Robinson opened the door. He didn't make it. So the idea is to. Okay, so see this arm? See the arm here? Okay, so had some old age sunspots that my dermatologist burned off, and right now they've kind of been bleeding, and the dogs scratch my arm all the time, jumping up on me. So that's what I got there. And
so
also,
you went to the doctor, and he gave you bloody wounds, and now you just walk around with them.
yes,
Cool. That's a good strategy.
It's a she, by the way. I have a
that makes sense.
I have a whole group of females here in the East Cobb, Georgia area that help me with my life.
With your Mando, with your stinky nads, or what are they doing?
No. I have one dermatologist who helps me. I've got 2 therapists who help me. I've got look, he's almost out of the cage. Holy smokes! I've got a hairdresser who helps me.
Wait, did you say a hairdresser?
Yes, who helps me.
You call this person a hair? You don't go to a barber. You go to a fucking hairdresser.
Yeah, I go to a hairdresser. Absolutely do.
What does that mean? You go? I mean, are you in there with chicks getting perms and stuff, dude?
Yeah.
All right, then.
Hey, I got to be very honest with you. The view is much better than an old barbershop.
Yeah.
I go in, get my hair washed. I get my hands put in paraffin. And then I go get my haircut.
So you're doing manicures and pedicures, and
I do. Yeah, I got some girls who do pedicures and manicures.
cuts and colors.
No, I don't. No, I don't do that.
You don't color your hair.
No, I don't. I color my beard. I've never colored my hair. See that?
They don't color your beard at the place. You do.
I do it myself. Yes.
Why don't you just cut your own hair? I can't believe you pay somebody for that.
Okay. So anyway,
I mean, are they like practice haircuts? Are you go like a haircutting school and it's like $2? Do they pay you to cut it?
No.
You're giving them American currency, and this is what you get.
I'm giving them American currency, and I'm giving them a lot.
What does a lot mean?
Okay, so the haircut is about $35, and I usually tip her $50.
You tip $50 on a $35 bill?
Yeah.
So you pay $85 for a haircut?
Yeah, probably so.
And you don't have them dye it?
No.
They just cut it?
Just cut it.
And you don't think a barber could do that for $15?
Probably could.
I remember when I met you and you were Frugal McDougal.
Well,
that's before you had that sweet, sweet Tony Khan money and you were riding around in a Range Rover.
Well, here's the deal about tipping. And I've told you this before. I was a terrible tipper until I worked at Starbucks. And then when I start working at Starbucks and I realized how much tips meant to these kids, other than the regular pay they bring home, they mean a lot. We would get tips at Starbucks, and they would take the tips and they would add all the tips up for that week, and they would divvy the tips up based on the hours you worked. And I remember a girl, she was about 23 years old. She got like $35 in tips that week, and she was almost brought to tears. She said, "That's a tank of gas for me this week." She was so excited. I remember thinking, well, this means a lot to these kids. So as Vinny said on My Blue Heaven, it's not tipping I believe in, it's over tipping. And I believe you should over tip for people who are in the food service industry, hair cutting, guys who, valets who take your car. I believe in it. I really do.
As a reminder, Tony, some of these people work for your favorite. They work for just the tip.
Yes.
So it's important that we prioritize the tip.
Right.
Pay a lot of attention to the tip.
Right. Even when the service is not that good, I tip. So 25% I tip in the restaurants. And
unless it's a haircut, and then it's 150%.
And then it's $50 because those girls are just starting out.
If a dude was cutting your hair for $15, what would his tip look like?
I don't want a dude to cut my hair.
I'm just saying hypothetically, Tony.
I give him a dime.
So why do you tip the girls $50? And
I don't know, but I'm kind of interested to see who's going to get out of this cage first because this is a wrestling podcast. You see,
all right. The answer is John Cena.
Oh, oh my God! You've given away the finish.
Yeah,
you've stooged it off to the dirt sheets already.
Well, it's 10 years old, Tony.
Oh, okay.
And it was a house show where the belt didn't change hands.
I thought it was going on tonight, Monday night at the end of Raw or something. What we were hooked into. I wasn't sure.
No, John Cena wouldn't be there.
Right. But he is the undisputed world champion. Why wouldn't he be there if he was the undisputed world champion and Raw's their number one show?
Raw's not the number one show.
What, SmackDown?
Raw's on a streaming service.
Okay.
Yeah, it is the number one show, but I don't know. Maybe he's there, but we won't see the belt. Maybe it's in a briefcase. Something.
Could be.
Never
Good
know.
idea. Let me write that down. I'll see if we can do that.
Let me write that down.
Do you know why we put it in a briefcase? Because you're not good enough to look at it. Gonna open the cage here. Here we go. Gonna open the cage. And Seth Rollins, like a dumbass, goes up on top. Oh, I see.
With his foot.
I see it. Very, very cool. Good move. Seth's had a heck of a career, hasn't he?
Dude, no doubt. I mean, think about this. He was the surprise. That WrestleMania 31, was a little bit like WrestleMania 9. I remember I didn't get WrestleMania 9 on pay-per-view, but I called my friend and I said, "Hey, man, Bret Hart, Yokozuna, who's the world champion?" And he says, "Hulk Hogan." And I'm like, no, I'm asking not about the tag match. I know that he wrestled IRS and the $1 Million Man with Brutus Beefcake as his tag partner. I'm talking about the main event that had Bret Hart defending against Yokozuna. Is Yokozuna the champion? Well, not anymore. So he won the belt? Yeah. So Yoko's the champ? No. Who's the champ? Hulk Hogan. Wait a minute. Well, that's sort of what happened here. It was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, but Seth Rollins cashed in and he stole the title. So he became the first person from the Shield to win the world title. And of course, we know eventually Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose would both hold it. And now, as you saw last week, Seth Rollins has aligned himself with your great close personal friend, Paul Heyman.
Really?
They're doing like a little half-assed dangerous alliance now with Rick Steiner's son,
Ron Breaker.
Seth Rollins joining Paul E. Heyman. I guess not E. Paul E. Dangerously or Paul Heyman.
Yeah. Okay. It's Buffet Bob is what it is.
Darren Staley says, if this show ever becomes about wrestling, I'm out. Yeah, we know about you, Darren. You want to talk about?
Yeah, you want to talk about pubic hair. That's all you want to talk about.
Yeah. And whether or not you click your bean or whatever it is you do.
Whatever it is.
It's inappropriate. That's what I know.
Look at this deadlift pickup with Seth on his back. That's pretty much core strength right there. That's no one's helping you,
Yeah.
Your partner's not helping you, or your opponent's not helping you get him lift you up. But we had a nut shot. Goddamn nut shot. The lights are dimming. What the hell?
Darren Staley wants to know. I wonder
God.
what Tony thinks I do for a living. What do you think Darren Staley does for a living?
Runs an ice cream truck.
I hope that's not it.
Okay.
By the way, as we're talking tonight, there is obviously a Monday Night Raw on Netflix.
Yeah.
And Complex tweeted out that Seth Rollins tonight wore a $13,500 coat from a Pakistani designer.
Oh, that's great.
Can you imagine? I mean, listen, I've heard of some crazy expensive coats, but
Wow.
a $14,000 jacket?
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
that's nuts. That's worse than paying a hairdresser $50 tip. Much worse.
So here comes Kane.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a big part of the Authority, and I guess at this point, I don't know the angle here. Maybe he hasn't officially joined the Authority, or maybe he has. I'm not sure. But Kane's on the outside, and John Cena's on the inside. Maybe this is after the Authority.
I would think so, because Seth Rollins is now worried.
Hey, I wanted to give you a heads up as we're getting ready to watch a. This looks like a pretty big time moment here.
Yep.
Let's track it. Seth
Wow.
just jumped off the top of the damn cage, and here comes John Cena, picks him up.
Yep.
Gets the finish. 1, 2. That's all she wrote.
Nobody bled.
Our next cage match will be the Ultimate Warrior and Macho King Randy Savage
Yikes.
from January 21st, 1991. Sean Mooney and Brother Love are going to be doing commentary on this, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing this. We just talked about Macho King and how much you and I love him.
Right.
By the way, I want to give everybody a shout out listening. We are due to do not one, but 2 pieces of bonus podcast, and we're going to do our best to bring you those this week. We tried to get together over the weekend. Schedules just didn't permit it, but there's some pretty cool stuff that's been picked out. I'm looking forward to on this one, Tony.
Yeah, Jason Taylor has picked out the stuff for us. Jason apparently is not with us here tonight, but I'm sure he's resting after April 15th came and went. But yeah, we got 2, and both were selected by him. By the way, my daughter Laurie has attempted to reach out to many of you slapdicks to see if you could come up with some bonus podcasts for us. And most of you will not answer her on Patreon on the messages. So check your Patreon messages. Okay. She told me, she said, you know what? She said, I'm close to giving up here. And I said, you know what? Just Jason Taylor's been wanting to do it. Let me approach Jason. So Jason's going to do both. Okay. I don't want her to message Darren Staley, because
we know what he'll pick. It'll be terrible.
It'll be terrible. And he'll ask Laurie about my pubes, and that would be very inappropriate to ask my daughter that.
Would it?
Yeah.
She's probably seen the sparrow's egg in a nest before.
I doubt it. She has.
Did any of your kids ever walk in on you on top of your lowest when y'all were
No
2 out of 3 falls or something?
No.
It scars kids, when that happens.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Darren Staley says, I have a law degree. I'm a director of operations for a company who provides services to people with severe disabilities. Pube talk is my side gig. By the way, I already asked Lori about your pubes. So
Pube talk is my side gig. Yeah. That's a hell of a side gig. Yeah, it's probably on his business card.
I really hope we can
talk available. Okay.
If we ever need to, litigate pubes,
we'll have him do it.
Coach Keith says she can ask me about your pubes or about bonus wrestling.
About bonus wrestling. Okay, good. So we
Macho King and the Ultimate Warrior. Look at these bright, colorful. That is a big difference from 1991 versus 2015. Just the colorful costuming.
Yeah.
I'm colorblind, but I think Savage is wrestling in pink. What color is that the Warrior's wearing? Is that blue or purple?
It's purple. Not only that, look at the difference in the lighting. It looks very dark because the ring is not lit. Well, this is a house show, I do believe, or this MSG show.
That's right.
Yeah. So, which is a house show they put on TV, basically. And again, this is the cage that I like. I think it's a pretty cool cage. It's different. And the idea is to climb up and out of the cage. And I guess one of the most famous ones would be Hogan and Orndorff climbing up out of the cage at the same time. I don't know if that's going to be on here or not. It might be. But pretty cool. But still very, very dark. Sherry on the outside, shaking them cages. Do with that line with what you will.
Tony, I got the entire internet blowing up this morning about a video that came out.
Brother.
Have you seen the video that's got everybody talking today?
I have not.
Well, I think it's high time we show you. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Why so serious? Because you know who I am. But you don't know why he's here. This is so badass. Like, you people know who we are. You have no idea what we're about. We're back, Monster. We are so back. Just so better than before. It is so good to see you again, my brother. Oh, it's been too long. I love you the most. No, I love you the most. You are my favorite of all favorites. But you know, we ran so hard. We changed the world one time. But now, we're here to wake them up. We're here to slice and dice the world of wrestling. And you're not gonna know what hit you. You know we've changed the world of professional wrestling. You can beat anybody. That's a given. Anybody. It's going to rock your world. Hey, should we tell them? Should we tell them who our third man is? Should we talk about his credentials? Should we talk about all of his championships? Should we talk about the world-class athletes that he has brought to the very top of this one? Should we talk about that? No. Not yet. But do stay tuned, because when we do announce our third man, it's going to rock your world. Oh, he's a badass, too. He's a real badass. We're back. We're better than ever. And you can't wait to see. And we're coming to get you. I think they're all coming back to our side. I know it. I can feel it. I can smell it. I can see it.
What do you make of that, Tony?
Another wrestling podcast.
Nope.
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 A television show.
It's not a podcast.
Well, then it's a television show. When Hulk started talking and Eric came behind him, with the first thing I thought of was, who's that old man behind Hulk?
You think he should have dyed the hair?
I don't know. It just in black and white. I'm like, wow. Okay. So the third man, I know who it should be, but I don't know who it's going to be.
Everybody in the group chat here is saying that I'm the third man.
Yeah.
I'm not the third man.
Yeah.
I don't know another way to say that. I'm telling you right now, I'm not the third man. I don't even specifically know who it is. I know what this is about, but I do not know who the third man is. But Tony, I'm of the opinion, hypothetically, a lot of people are going to get their answers later this week.
Okay, good. That's great. We don't know what it is. We don't know who the third man is.
I love that you immediately went to, it's a podcast.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I know what would really make a splash.
Which would be?
Well, Vince McMahon.
When I first saw the video this weekend, Eric called or said, "Hey, call me when you watch it. I want to hear your feedback." And I said, "Well, listen, dude, if you were trying to do a movie trailer that sort of builds some intrigue and some anticipation and leaves people wondering, hey, what's next? Where's this going?"
Right.
Mission accomplished. You got to figure it out, because I think there's going to be a lot of intrigue, and I think everybody's going to assume that the third man is Vince McMahon.
Right.
And then today, when he posted it, he saw the same thing I did, where half the internet is guessing it's a podcast, and it's not a podcast.
Okay.
Well, we'll see.
And it's got to be something video. It's one of the two. So there you go. I mean, it's not going to be a manuscript.
What does that mean?
They're not going to write a paper and have everybody read it.
How do you know?
Oh,
They've
for
both
crying
written books before. They're both New York Times bestsellers. Are you telling me they can't write another book?
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Well, you know what? I think there's another song you should hear.
Oh, Jesus.
Sweet Caroline, fucking bye, bye, bye. Fucking blackbird singing in the dead of night. Fucking wake up. Should've somehow realized what you gotta do. Fucking, I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do. Or fucking about you now. Fucking, you get a fast car. Black hole sun, won't you come and fucking wash away? We are farmers, fucking bop, ba, bop, 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 bop.
I feel like that is every wrestler singing along because the F word is used like a comma. I do think that guy's onto something. You can drop the F word and improve almost any song.
Yeah. Fucking do. That's the one that got me.
He knew how
The fucking do. Oh, God.
good stuff, man.
DJ Turnup just got away from the Gentlemen's Club and joined us. Coach Keith has joined us as well. Hello to you, to my friends.
We got some cage matches that we're watching here from Madison Square Garden. Coming up next is Rowdy Piper and Ravishing Rick Rude. After that, Hulk Hogan and the Big Bossman. Then Randy Savage and Ted DiBiase. And then Bruno and Tito against Randy Savage and Adrian Adonis. And then Hulk Hogan and the magnificent Don Morocco.
Wow.
I hate to tell you this, Tony, but I will be calling an audible.
You will.
Don't think we're going to watch 92 of these motherfuckers.
Okay. The audible when we say, we've had enough. We give. We tap.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to finish Hogan Bossman because at least to you and I, this is our main event. Can we agree?
I think we can.
So after this one, it's going to be Roddy Piper and Rick Rude. That is their Christmas MSG show. It's December 28th, 1989.
Right.
And then after that, March 18th, 1989, just a few days before WrestleMania 5, Hulk Hogan versus the Big Boss Man. Super fun.
Tony Schiavone's first foray into Madison Square Garden. When people ask me what's the one match I remember more than any, that is the one match I remember more than any throughout my career. And it's not any other match. It's not the best match I've seen.
No, of course not.
But because it was my first time in Madison Square Garden.
It's memorable.
It's memorable because I came from Crockett Promotions, which again is a mom and pop's organization. Look at Sherry in there.
She earned her money, man.
Well, she did, man. But no, being in Madison Square Garden for the first time and knowing that we're going to get on a flight and fly to Boston Garden to do a night show, to me, I was just like, wow, I have made the big time. In reality, I had at that time.
Well, there you go. Look at there. Macho King falls to the bottom. He is going to somehow, some way upset the Ultimate Warrior here. But that leaves Warrior in the cage along with Sensational Sherry. Great stuff. Of course, our main event we're talking about, the match after what's to follow here, went down March 18th, 1989. You've heard Tony tell the story many, many times. It was a matinee show.
Yep.
20,000 fans were there. It was a sellout. If you're watching along with us, Roddy Piper is now making his way to the ring. Ravishing Rick Rude is already inside the cage waiting on him. But this show featured the next one we're going to be talking about. Tony Schiavone and Lord Alfred Hayes on commentary. We'd have Lanny Poffo reading a poem about WrestleMania 5, where he would praise the WWF World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion Randy Savage and say that he's going to beat Hulk Hogan. And then Poffo leaves the ring, opting to not throw his trademark Frisbee into the crowd. And they would be recording some matches here for Primetime Wrestling that would air in April of 89. So you see Roma and Jim Powers beating the Conquistadors, even though Tony acted like he'd never seen them before last week. You've got the women's champion, Rockin' Robin, pinning Judy Martin.
Wow.
Then we've got Mr. Perfect working with Ron Garvin, a fellow who had just been the NWA World Champion with you down at JCP.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of in the middle of the card, Hulk Hogan and the Big Bossman working with Slick at the time, have their steel cage match that goes 11 minutes and 14 seconds. But after that, it's the Rockers versus Arn and Tully, which is a big-time match anywhere in the world. But in Madison Square Garden, dude, sign me up.
Yep.
Rick Rude, and I'm sorry, not Rick Rude. The Red Rooster, rather, would be working with the Brooklyn Brawler, and they get plenty of time on that one. Hercules Hernandez would work Bad News Brown, and they go to a double countout. Jim Duggan's going to team up with the Bushwhackers to take on Dino Bravo, Jacques, and Raymond Rougeau. And believe it or not, they go 15 minutes in the last match.
Yikes.
But Hulk Hogan was in the middle because, well, we needed to get him to the next town because that same day they ran a matinee show in Spokane, Washington. The main event was Jake Roberts versus Andre the Giant. Underneath, we had Big John Studd and Akeem, Ted DiBiase and Tito Santana, Bret Hart and the Honky Tonk Man, the Blue Blazer and Ron Bass, Sam Houston and Danny Davis. And I guess I am used to be related to Scott Casey and Barry Horowitz. I guess Megan's mom's sister was married to Scott Casey once.
Okay.
Which I did not know until not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a matinee show that same day in Columbus, Ohio. So far we've had 3 matinees, guys. We had the A show at the Madison Square Garden event, 20,000 sold out. We also had a B show in Spokane, Washington. And I guess we'd call this a C show, but it's not really because in Columbus, Ohio, they got Rick Martel, King Haku, Brutus Beefcake, Rick Rude, Demolition and the Powers of Pain, and Randy Savage, who is the world champion, versus the Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior. So title versus title in Columbus is a big-time matinee. And they would do it again that night in Cincinnati, Ohio at the Riverfront Coliseum. Once again, it's Beefcake and Rude. It's Martel and Haku. It's Neidhart and Valentine. But the world title versus the Intercontinental title, Savage versus Warrior. But what you were more interested in, what you were working that day, was the A show.
Mm-hmm.
After televising the matinee show on the MSG network with Lord Alfred Hayes, it's going to be you and Lord Alfred Hayes doing your thing at night in the Boston Gardens. This is going to be on the NESN network, which I think stands for Northeast Sports Network. And there's 15,200 fans there. And famously, once again, we've got some of those same matches. Hercules and Bad News Brown, Duggan and the Bushwhackers against Dino Bravo and the Rougeau brothers. But the main event, and it went on last here, is Hogan and Bossman once again in a steel cage. And what's really fascinating to me, and again, I haven't seen this match in a long time, and we're going to watch it next here, but I think they did the big suplex spot off the top of the cage.
They did. Yeah.
And the idea that we're doing that in these, for lack of a better words, damn concrete rings here.
Right.
That's a big fella to come off the top of a cage with a big superplex and to do it twice in the same day.
Okay. They did not do it in Boston.
Good. Thank goodness.
They only did it in Madison Square Garden. I remember talking to Bruce about this when they did it. The only other time they did it was on Saturday night's main event.
Okay.
And Bruce said, when you have a spot like that, you only do it in like Madison Square Garden, or if you're on Saturday night's main event, you don't do it anywhere else.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But Dusty was on that card too in the Boston Garden. Was he on this card in MSG? I remember him being on the Boston Garden card. Or maybe it was another time.
I think you're mistaken. He's not on either one of those.
Okay, so it was because I did the Boston Garden again, and he was on the Boston Garden card later. That's what it was.
Let me see when he shows up, though, because I know that he started. Okay, so the vignettes for him started in May of '89.
Okay,
and he'd come back in Montreal. Believe it or not, they brought him back in Montreal at the Forum. The main event that night was Savage and Hogan. Underneath was Demolition against Bossman and Akeem.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo and Hercules. Dusty Rhodes versus Ted DiBiase. The rest of that card is Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, the Warlord and Jim Neidhart, Paul Roma and Boris Zukov, and Tim Horner and Barry Horowitz. 12,000 fans are there.
Wow.
That's pretty cool that they brought Dusty back to the company after all that time in Montreal.
Isn't that something?
But he would be in Boston Gardens, and you're exactly right. This would be the final Boston Garden show ever televised on NESN. It was June 3rd, 1989. Once again, it was you and Lord Alfred Hayes.
Right.
You started with Horner over Horowitz, and then Warlord over Neidhart, and then Dusty Rhodes over Ted DiBiase. So, yeah, you were right. You nailed it, but it was a little later. I find it interesting that we do see Rick Rude bleeding in the big blue cage.
Right.
But they're showing it. But what they're not showing is he's wrestling with his asshole hung out.
No. They've got that phased out.
This is the first wrestler you remember making the asshole exposure a regular part of the repertoire. Was that Flair and then everybody sort of followed suit? Or who's the innovator of let's show the world my asshole?
It was Flair.
Okay.
For me, yeah.
Now, we've always heard that Flair can show people that he is an asshole.
Right. He's shown that many times.
But to show shoot hole.
Shoot hole. Yeah, it's a different thing. Right.
Yeah. Not working hole, but shoot hole.
Yeah. Yeah. And as Tommy Young had told us many times, at one time it was shit hole.
It's true.
Yeah. Because Rick did shit his pants during the match.
He probably did earlier today, if we're honest.
Okay.
What do you think about Bobby Heenan's jacket right there? I think that's in the hands of a private collector, and it's one of the more iconic Bobby Heenan jackets, I think. The black jacket with the red star.
Red star. Yeah. Did he use that in the AWA too? Maybe?
I don't know. You know, if I watched AWA, it was because I was paid to do so.
Right.
I'm not an AWA fan, man. I've watched a bunch of it trying to get into it.
Yeah.
I just do not see the appeal. To me, the WWF works for me. Jim Crockett Promotions work for me. I thought the AWA was fucking boring. I know be a bad fan, but it just wasn't for me.
It's where you lived.
Okay.
And everything. And I mean, Minneapolis people loved it. And Canadian people loved it. Don Callis, who's a Canadian, loved the AWA. He was all about that. And so it's just all about where you grew up and where you were from, kind of, in a way. But I get it. I mean, there was a promotion that's centered on one person, right? Vern Gagne. And he didn't have stars. The stars were made by Vince McMahon later, I think. Look at this. Climbing down at the same time. Whose foot's going to touch first? Boom. Wow. It is just kind of like Hogan and Paul Orndorff. They climbed down on different sides, and they had to do an instant replay to show Hogan's foot drop down seconds before.
Tony, you got to pick one. Would you want to wrestle? Would you want to blade and bleed in front of this Madison Square Garden audience, or would you rather walk around half the match with your asshole hung out?
I'd rather bleed.
You'd rather bleed than show your ass?
Yes, I would.
Silva, if you can hear me, we'd love to hear your vote here. Would you rather bleed or show your ass?
Oh, all ass.
Yeah.
I knew that would happen.
Let's do a poll here amongst our live studio audience. Given the option, would you rather wrestle inside the big blue cage against Roddy Piper in Madison Square Garden, bleeding out of your forehead, or with your asshole hanging out? You can't pick both, but you can pick one. Which one would you pick? Bloody face or exposed asshole?
All right. And they are typing as quickly as they can.
Bad Money Slim says, my ass.
No, not my ass, your ass. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, he's the first one to talk about his ass.
Look at Ravishing Rick Rude with his whole asshole hung out on the top. DJ Turnup says, give me my ass.
Okay, that's two asses. John Hamilton says blood. Bryant says blood.
So we're tied here. Two bloods and two asses.
Mm-hmm. The real men are saying blood. The wusses are saying ass.
I don't know. If you count me and Silva, we got the advantage by one. We need one more blood.
Wow. Nobody else wants to vote. Wouldn't be the first time streaking. Bloody face.
Keith, we're tied up, man. Blood and ass are tied.
Yeah, Captain Keith would be.
What a fucking pile driver from Rick Rude.
Wasn't it great?
Fantastic.
Coach Keith. I called him Captain Keith.
Well, that's fine. I mean, listen, he's Captain Bloody Face.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got to tell you, we're about 12 minutes in here. It'd be good if Rick Reed would just pull his junk up, you know?
He doesn't give a shit.
Just one good time. It'd be good for all of us.
All right, so no one else would vote. So there you go.
So we're in a dead heat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, Alex Wheaton says I'm showing booty hole. So there you go. Buttholes have it. Buttholes.
Okay.
John Hamilton said if I had my ass out, I may have a turtle head poking out. Well, you could shit before the match, John.
You sure could, John. Yeah.
That's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember anybody having to shit in the middle of a match and finding a way to tag out, go shit, and then do a run in? Spear to 76, come back.
Spear to 76. What are they wrapped up?
Toilet paper around the head.
Oh God.
Look at the physique on Rick Reed here as he hangs upside down.
The abs are amazing, and he can.
But still, the asshole's out. Like, just cover it up, bud. Like, it wouldn't take that much.
No. But he doesn't wanna. He doesn't wanna.
But I'm wondering, like, on NESN, could they even show this with the asshole hanging out? Maybe he had to do the job and he didn't want anybody to see it. Oh my God, he's pipering up.
Huh.
What would you call it when Rowdy tried to do the Hogan spot and makes a comeback?
Piping up.
Piping up.
He's piping up.
I think. Oh wow, piping up, and then here comes DJ Turnup saying "Booty Hole Gang."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It feels like Booty Hole Gang is a different kind of faction.
Yeah, me too. It sure is. Heenan just reached in these drawers and came up with it looks like a mousetrap. He got it right.
It's a foreign object.
Okay, of course it is.
Hey Tony, have you seen this conversation where people are wondering? I guess there was a story that came out. I think this is the genesis of it. I might have this wrong. I think there's a story that came out that said that Mike Tyson once tried to pay a zookeeper $10,000 to let him fight a silverback gorilla, and the zookeeper wouldn't do it. So Mike Tyson did not get to live his dream and fight a silverback gorilla. But the question that I've seen posed online was, if you had to fight a gorilla, who would you want to have your back in a fight against a gorilla? And some of the names I've seen thrown around are things like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So if you knew, Tony Schiavone, that you personally are going to have to fight a damn silverback gorilla, there's no way around it. But you get to have one partner.
Yep.
Who would you pick?
Dave Silva.
And the idea being,
if I'm going to die, I'm going to die laughing. Okay.
Oh, okay. There you go. So the Big Boss Man, who looks like Garrett Rockencrotch before Ozempic and Pokemon came into his life.
Right.
He's in the ring with the Doctor of Style, Slick, and I think Hulk Hogan's going to come out, and I'm going to have to track 7 seconds of it when the crowd goes banana, because I just want to hear what this reaction's like in 1989, just days before WrestleMania 5. What an iconic character the Big Boss Man is, too.
Tremendous. What a heel and what a foil he was for Hogan, wasn't he? He was just
the best.
Yeah.
If you needed a heel factory, you needed somebody big, somebody intimidating, somebody believable. He checked all the boxes.
And somebody from the South, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, man.
All right, here we go. And it'll never get old.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't care what anybody says. It's the best song.
Well, and how about just hearing Fink over the top of it?
Right. And look at the fans. Look at the kids. And the Hogan fingers. And he pointing towards. Man, they just freaking loved him. I mean, listen. I don't care what you say, and there's been so many things said about Hogan throughout the years, but Vince McMahon and Hogan together made a megastar like never before. Tearing off the iconic tearing off of the shirt.
Man, this is my childhood right here. I just love Hulk Hogan in this era. 1989 is when I really fell in love with wrestling. First time I remember seeing it was the summer of '88, but by '89, man, I was all in. I remember my parents we went shopping to a series of stores, and they were looking for something that they couldn't find. It was my mom and my grandmother, and my grandmother said, "Hey, there's a thrift store. Maybe we should go look there." And I didn't even know what that meant as a kid. It was my first time going to a thrift store, and I got all excited because when I got in there was a bunch of wrestling magazines.
Uh-huh.
So I went and showed them to my mom, and she's like, I mean, this is like 1988 or 89, so it's like 10 magazines for $1 or something silly, you know. So she's like, "Yeah, I don't care." So she let me load up, and I left with like 20 wrestling magazines, and they were all back issues. But it was
Right.
like this whole new world I was discovering for the first time.
Wow.
I didn't know who any of these people were, and I was trying to learn. So I was reading cover to cover, and I just think about how fun that discovery process was in my fandom. And back then, you know, it was rare when you could see wrestling on TV. Like you had to know when it came on. This is before DVRs and you could just Google something or so you had to like figure it out, and it was a whole process. And man, I was all in. And then you go to the video store, and you'd rent these old VHSs and really have no frame of reference for when this show happened or who all was on it or any of the behind the scenes. We just don't have the context that we have now. And I loved it so much as a kid. And I do wonder about kids who are watching wrestling now because they're going to have a totally different experience learning and discovering and enjoying wrestling as a young person than you and I did, Tony.
Yeah, it's those moments that you're talking about, they stick with you forever.
They do.
Forever. I don't think they're going to do the superplex this early, but they may.
It is interesting to think if they're not going to do it now, are they going to like work their way back over here and do it like they're going to be on the top rope twice in this?
Yeah.
But I guess maybe because you're trying to play to the whole crowd, you know, and this is a sellout. Imagine if you're Ray Traylor, by the way, and it wasn't that long ago. You were, oh, no, that's not it. But how about Hogan taking a big back bump off the top rope?
Right.
Hey, that's no joke for a bump for Hogan, for anybody.
No. For someone that size to take that back bump? Absolutely not.
I mean, even now, Tony, you wouldn't fall off the top rope like that. No way.
No, shit, no.
Look at this.
This might be it.
Bossman is on the outside of the cage already.
Yeah.
Starting to climb down. What I was getting to, though, is think about his existence, man. It wasn't that long ago, and my man was doing damn jobs on TBS. Like he was an enhancement talent.
Right.
And now here he is wrestling freaking Hulk Hogan in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. 86, he was doing jobs on TV. This is 3 years later.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Unbelievable. This is it, Conrad.
Oh my gosh. Let's track just a second of it.
Is he going to suplex him with the top rope? Oh, what a dangerous move this is for the Hulkster in any case. Oh, my word, he'll never hold his footing there. He'll have to change that. There's no way he can get him. I don't know. Oh, my word.
Buddy, that was scary.
That was scary.
I don't remember seeing that before, but that's I think Ray Traylor's just happy he lived.
I think everybody's happy they lived because that thing was very, very unstable up there.
Yes, it was.
And here's how kayfabe was back then, I think. And I'm spitballing here. They built that cage without knowing Hogan was going to do that.
Right.
Because they didn't let anybody know. They wanted anybody to know. Had they known, they probably would have done a better job of securing that top of that cage. And so there it happened.
My man, Big Bossman, debuts in Newfoundland, Canada.
Okay.
On May 7th, 1988, against Lanny Poffo.
Okay.
And it's not too terribly long before he's working with Hulk Hogan. I think his first match against him was September 19th, 1988 at the New Haven Coliseum. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's right. And I just think that's fascinating that 4 months into your run here, you're already working with Hulk Hogan on top. That is a big opportunity.
You're not kidding. And one that was not lost on Ray Traylor.
No doubt.
He was nervous as you could get every time he went out. And of course, I had known Ray from the WCW days. And of course, he's a good old Georgia boy. And we talked about it. He was just very, very nervous every time. And so I think a lot of times when there's obviously two ways you can go when you're in a big match and it's not lost on you. You can either shit the bed or you can either really step up and perform. And I think he performed very well.
If you eliminate Royal Rumbles and Survivor Series matches, he had, 70 some odd matches against Hulk Hogan, including tags. I mean, that's a hell of a run.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's like 70 shows where you're getting an above average paycheck here, to say the least. You know what I don't think I noticed is that cable on the outside. I think normally that's underneath the skirting.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that before.
I don't either. And I saw it. But that's the first time I noticed it. And you heard the crowd, okay? How the crowd sounded when they were doing that superplex. The crowd was in it the entire way. You don't have to sweeten any of this stuff, man.
What'd you think of the Doctor Style Slick?
Oh, I loved him.
Yeah.
I loved him. He popped me when on the you go back and watch the video of Pile Driver, the music videos.
Yep.
Pile Driver. He's in there and he's eating. And the camera comes in to talk to him. He said, "What you want to bother me when I'm eating my yard bird, man?" And I just fell out when he said that. He was really cool. Really cool guy.
When you think about the all-time great, we'll call it the Mount Rushmore of WWF managers. So I'm not including all the other territories. When you think of that, though, Bobby Heenan's on the list, right?
Yep.
Is Jimmy Hart on the list?
Sure.
Now, the last two is where it gets tricky. Is it Paul Bearer? Is it Sherry? Is it Blassie? Is it Captain Lou? Is it Paul Heyman? Is it Slick? Is it Fuji? Is it Sonny? Is it Miss Elizabeth? Is it Slick?
I thinking everything into consideration these days. I think Paul Heyman's got to be in there.
I would agree, but I didn't know how plugged into the modern era you were. So we'll agree it's Heenan, it's Jimmy Hart, it's Heyman, and there's one last one. And I know what everybody's thinking.
Yeah.
Could throw in Jim Cornette. He only was a manager there for a cup of coffee, but obviously he was great. And when you're talking about all-time greats, period, well, there's no doubt that he's on the list. But
right.
What do you think from a WWF perspective? Would you put somebody else in that spot?
Well, if you think about old school WWE, there's Blassie, there's Captain Lou, there's the
Ted
Grand.
DiBiase did it for a bit.
Yeah, there's the Grand Wizard. Yeah, Heyman's there for sure, and I don't know, maybe Sherry, because she was so good.
Sherry was iconic. I agree.
Yeah.
I could go with Sherry, Heenan, Heyman, and Jimmy Hart. And to be clear, if we're saying all wrestling, Cornette, if he's not number one, he's 1A.
Right. But again, Cornette, we're talking about WWE guys, and his what's he got? Oh, he's got the chain.
Hulk Hogan has a chain wrapped around his fist. And he just punched the lights out of the Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man went down too, buddy.
He knows where his bread's buttered.
You damn right. Silver Hulk Hogan. Boom. Look at him go down. Look how Ray
he's
Trailer.
feeding up and down, up and down, up
Yeah.
and down. For a big guy, that's pretty fast, dude.
Ray Trailer was always one of the more athletic big guys we had. And that's why Dusty saw him and thought, we got to do something with him because he can do a lot of stuff in the ring. You could even tell it when he was doing jobs on TBS. There's the leg drop. That should be it.
Wait a minute. I just noticed, is Big Bossman wearing duct tape around his wrists?
He
That's
sure
nice,
is. There
bro.
it is. There it is again, man.
That's going to he has no arm hair there now.
That's right.
He's bleeding like a stuck pig, too. He cut himself in the same spot. It was already a pre-existing cut, but hey, they opened it up. No problem.
Yep. Oh, my
Look at
God.
that looks great.
That does look great.
I wish you weren't such a puss and you liked blood in your cage matches.
That's
You
all
being
I
such
want.
a puss,
That's
like-
all I want in my cage match is blood. I don't want the crack of somebody's ass. I want blood.
I love you see the cage lowering and you get full John Moxley. Here we go.
Here we go. We go. I remember back in the old Crockett days in the backstage area, they used to, when they have a cage, they used to put up a cage. They have a cage. They put it up in front of me, and I'd stand there in the microphone, and somebody would come with a head of lettuce or cabbage, and they grate it across the cage. That's what your head's going to be like, Ric Flair, when I get finished with you in the steel cage in the Township Auditorium in Columbia, South Carolina.
So look at this. They've handcuffed the Big Boss Man to the bottom rope so he couldn't escape out the door. Hogan climbs out the other side, drops down to the bottom. Hulk Hogan is your winner, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Tony Schiavone's most memorable match.
Yep.
How fitting that we get to watch this the week you return to a live show on TBS, calling wrestling on a Saturday night.
It's great.
Deal. It's a very big deal. Of course, the NBA playoffs are going to be changing some things. So look for Collision this week on TBS this Saturday, where Tony Schiavone will be back doing his thing on a Saturday night. I love it so much. In an alternate universe, I'm going to pretend it's 6:05. I know it's not, but it will be in our hearts.
Right.
Speaking of our hearts, I know that you feel strongly, and you want to pay a little homage as we wrap up the show. And right now, Tony, it looks like it's about that time.
An homage to Paul Rogers. And if you guys will just clap along with me. Ready?
We're ready.
Baby, when I think about you, think about love. Darling, don't want to live without you. Live without love. And if I had these golden dreams of my yesterday, I would wrap you in the heavens. Feel like dying all the way. Feel like making dun 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 dun. Feel like making dun 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 dun. Feel like making love to you. And we're out of time. See you next week on What Happened When. We come to you each and every Mondays, ad-free, exclusively on
Patreon, patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course, adfreeshows.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today. And hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.